Welcome to our Nursery Know-How series. This week, I'm going to be talking with the owner, Settlemyre, about common questions that we get in the nursery business. We're going to look at what we can do outside in February. Before we get into that though, Brandon, I'd like to know why February? It's cold outside, so why are we doing stuff?
We have cooler weather. We have dormant conditions, meaning the weeds or the plants are basically just hanging out and they're not growing. And it's a great time to start composting our beds. For me, the cooler weather is what I like because I can work hard and it's not April or May and I'm not sweating to death.
So we know why, but can you explain the process of this? Like, what do we do with our beds in February?
So that is a great question. I kind of brought a few tips here. And for the new beds, like new construction, commercial, so forth, those beds should be tilled to break up that heavy clay. We like to add gypsum and composted cow manure. That not only softens that clay, but it adds drainage, and drainage is key for aeration and plant material. So if you have an existing bed, like most of us do in front of the house, we can actually just top dress it with some of the composted cow manure or some of our raised bed soil. And we can go ahead and apply some mulch, because mulch is going to suppress those weed seeds, and I don't know anybody that likes weeds in the spring. So raised beds was another point I was going to mention. Raised beds are huge, especially in small areas, tight areas. And it's similar to the processes I just explained. Typically your raised beds are already going to have some good soil in it. But we like to freshen those beds up with some compost, whether it be mushroom, organic, your own compost pile. The Biotone Starter Plus is a fabulous enrichment there as well. And we can put a little bit of mulch on those raised beds to reduce any weed seeds that might have been blown in or dropped in by a bird.
Yeah, so you talked a lot about adding compost. Do I have to add compost to my beds? Like, I have a lot of flower beds at my house. What's the purpose of that?
That is an awesome question. The compost is natural organic matter that is aged and it's breaking down, and we're adding nitrogen back to the bed. And majority of your plants and your shrubbery and anything in that area need that nutrition. So absolutely, if you like flowers, you're going to love your flowers. If you haven't been adding compost and cow manure, you got to get to it this season.
Once I get my beds prepped, can I plant?
Whether we're working in a new bed, an existing bed, a raised bed, or even your garden. We've got a lot of long-time gardeners out there. They're doing their tomatoes and their beans and all that good stuff. We don't want to just throw our seeds out right now in February. We could do some late February germination of some cool season. We can go over that too. But as far as gardening and flowers, absolutely no, it's just too early. Here in southwestern North Carolina, we know we're going to get that late frost, that spell. It's going to happen sometime in April, it always does. But if you do want to go ahead and get some trees and some shrubs in the ground, or you're adding anything like that, absolutely. Get your preparation done and start planting. If you need help with planting, we can help you. Anybody here can help you. Trees, shrubs, absolutely. Flowers, veggies, not yet. Just hold on to that.
But what about transplanting? When should I do that?
So transplanting actually can be done right now while we're doing our amendments and our soil composting and our mulching. Shorter days, cooler days, the plant's dormant, basically that asleep effect that I've heard you talk about. And if you do it now, it's cooler on you and you don't have to water as much this spring because we're getting that plant reestablished before the warm weather comes, and that's really important.
So I can plant now, plant trees and shrubs now, and I can transplant things now. What do I do once I get everything prepped and I get everything in the ground? Should I mulch now, or do we wait until later? What's the deal with that?
So ideally you want to go ahead and get your mulch down at planting, whether it be pine straw, whether it be hardwood mulch, just because not only is it going to look good, we're going to insulate our plants immediately, keep the wind off of it, keep the sun off the soil, but we're also going to keep those weeds at bay for the most part, because before you blink, you will have spring weeds, and it is a task So absolutely get that mulch out just as soon as you get your plants and shrubs in the ground.
Go ahead and like this video. You can subscribe to our channel for more gardening tips. On our next video, we're going to be talking about late winter pruning.